The Switch is a great console and has facilitated many great franchises. From the regular series that you would expect from Nintendo, to some great new IPs, amazing indie games and also some classic hits that we haven't seen in a long time. But some of them still remain buried, which is just a damn shame. Because a couple of these franchises were some big hits, but haven't seen the light of day in a long time. So I present to you a list of 5 franchises that I believe should make the return on Nintendo Switch. Let's go! One of the most popular franchises that hasn't seen a game since 2004 is F-Zero. My introduction with Captain Falcon began with Super Smash Bros. And I believe I'm not the only one. After which, I learned he had his own game as well, called F-Zero. With the Cap still showing his moves in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he is still an active character, just not in his own game. Hell, even Mario Kart 8 got some cool F-Zero tracks to race on. F-Zero is of course known for its futuristic high-speed race action, with some diverse and crazy characters and some cool funky music. F-Zero had 10 games in its franchise, starting with the game also called F-Zero in 1990 for the SNES, all the way to 2004 with F-Zero Climax for the Game Boy Advance. Fans have always been vocal for a new game in the series, and with games like Fast Racing RMX, which is pretty similar to F-Zero, performing generally well on Nintendo Switch, it is safe to say that people will be more than excited for a new game. You can even piggyback off the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate success to promote a new game for the Falcon. For us Westerners, the Advance Wars series, but also known as the Famicom Wars in Japan. It's even sometimes referred to as Nintendo Wars, but to avoid even more confusion, let's just go with Advance Wars. The games from this series are mostly developed by Intelligent Systems and are all turn-based strategy games aside from Battalion Wars 1 and 2. The first game was released in 1988 on NES exclusively for Japan. After that, the series would see 5 games all exclusive for Japan until 2001. Then in 2003, we got our first Advance Wars game in the West, also called by the same name, Advance Wars. Thus why we call the series Advance Wars instead of Famicom Wars. 3 more games in the series would be released up until 2008. There was also a spin-off series developed called Battalion Wars, but after that, nothing. Intelligent Systems mostly releases 1 game per year, so it could be that they're too busy with Fire Emblem and other games. But the demand is still there. Fans have been asking for a new entry for the Switch since its release. And seeing how well Wargroove is performing, which is a game that's very similar in playstyle, it's safe to assume that a new entry in the series would perform incredibly well. So for the fans that want to scratch their Advance Wars itch, you should really try out Wargroove. It's an amazing game with interesting characters, beautiful music and a lot more content on the way. We could do with some more horror on the Switch, and Fatal Frame would be perfect for that. If you're from Europe like me, you might also know this series as Project Zero. It's a little bit questionable to call this series that, as it had a new game on the Wii U in 2014. But that's still 5 years, so let's just roll with it. Fatal Frame is a survival horror game where you have no means of attack, except for your camera. Ghosts can attack you however, and the only way to stop them is to take pictures, which will pacify them and make them disappear. If this sounds familiar, then you may have seen Yuri Kozukata in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. She is the protagonist in the most recent game, Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater. In Smash she can target a player with her camera and make them unable to move. Fatal Frame is a very well received series and people often rank it up there with Resident Evil and Silent Hill. It would be perfect for Switch, with motion control to aim your camera and HD rumble to warn about ghosts, because who wouldn't like to be scared shitless by knowing something's behind you that you can't see? One of the most requested characters to be included in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has to be Isaac from Golden Sun, and for a good reason. Such a popular guy, but one who hasn't had a new game in almost 9 years. Golden Sun is an RPG where you control a group of characters while fighting enemies and solving puzzles. The original is considered by many as one of the best Game Boy Advance games ever released, and is praised in Japan and the West equally. Just 3 games were ever released for this series: Golden Sun, Golden Sun The Last Age, and Golden Sun Dark Dawn. But still, the franchise has left a considerable impact on fans. Okay, so this cool dude has a lot of fans, but why should there be a Golden Sun game on Switch? Well, RPGs are doing really well at the moment. as you can see by the return of some Final Fantasy games. And although Golden Sun is very different from those games, I think it still will perform really well. Also, Nintendo knows he's still popular as well, as he got included as an assist trophy in the recent Super Smash. Yes, I understand. Wario isn't dead. With his WarioWare games and his many cameos in things like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Super Smash Bros., you name it. But I'm talking about something else here. Wario Land. God damn it, I love those games. With the original 3 appearing on Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and later entries releasing on the Game Boy Advance, GameCube, DS and the Nintendo Wii. These games were always over the top and played like some psychedelic Super Mario Bros. Well, I guess those games are pretty psychedelic as well, but even more psychedelic than that. Where Mario was known for his jumping, Wario was known for his shoulder dash, a powerful run and hit attack that would bounce away all kinds of enemies. I would love to see a Switch version of one of those classic games. Not that the later entries were bad, but I think they can do much more with the classic formula. Wario Land Shake It on the Wii was a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, the series stopped after that game. Now is the time for him to put back on his yellow and purple suit and bash into some enemies.
Have a rotten day!
Oh yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel for more Nintendo content and other video game stuff as well. You may also drop a like if you are into that kind of thing. Please check out one of my other videos on screen right now, and if not, I hope to see you next time.